I'd like to announce I took care of that problem. Thank you.
Jody, we're up.
You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
We're up.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Let me step out. I'll go get the iPhone.
Well, I'm on, this is someone will admit me shortly, and
Do one of y'all have his number? Is this live?
I'm copied it
Yeah.
for you right now.
We're live.
Okay, just FYI, we are live. If this man had his number to call and say, hey, we're struggling. I'm happy.
You, Adam?
Yeah.
Are y'all ready? So we're live? We want to go live. Okay. So. A quorum has been determined, and at 5:35 p.m., the special called budget meeting will come to order. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me for a moment of invocation. Father God, thank you for this day, Lord, this beautiful day. Thank you for the cooler weather, God. We're enjoying it so much. Thank you for that. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for each person that's here, God. And Lord, I just thank you. Thank you for being the light and strength and everything that we look to every day, God. Thank you. We pray right now for wisdom, God. Help us, give us direction, and help us to make good decisions, Lord, for the betterment of our channel. In Jesus' name, amen. And we have complied with the Freedom of Information Act requirements, and we are ready to begin our budget discussion, and the floor is open. We also have with
Not only does it
us
say
tonight
live, but it's
Adam
counting.
Baird from Greenfin College, and we will now turn the floor over to Adam and to Councilwoman Mayor Pro Tem Spires, as they have been working together to put this together for us tonight. So the floor is open.
Mr. Baird, do you hear us? I mean, can you hear? No? Oh, that's not gonna work because that's the next issue. Let me send you an email right quick, guys. Let me try this one. Adam, it is the Spires. All of us are sitting here and it will not let me have any volume, okay? For some reason, because I've been asking you if you can hear me and you can't, so. I'm not sure. I've tried about 15 times, maybe that's it. All right, accept. Did you get that? Join. Hit join now. Now I see you. Well, I see your initials. All right, and apparently Carrie's in, because it says town clerk. All right. Let's see. Can you hear me?
I can.
Bingo. Thank you very much for patience with us. This thing didn't want to work. So what we would like for you to do tonight is talk us through the figures that you and Ms. Charlton have put into this budget, and sort of explain what you and I had talked about the other day as far as the fact of how you came to those numbers.
Right.
Okay?
I'm gonna share my screen. So you should all be able to see the budget right now.
Well, those of us that have computers
It's okay, we'll follow along.
do.
Well, so what we did is we took the last 3 years, and we took the average of that, we had increased it, I think, by about 10%, just assuming, some sort of growth. And what we've done is we've gone and broken it down between the revenue and the expenses. And there are a few items that we really needed y'all to make kind of the final decision. But what I'll do is I will run down the revenue real fast, and I will then go back to a few items that I think we need to kind of discuss. I don't know if it'll be good to discuss it to begin with or towards the end once we get all the information.
Okay.
So we'll go from there. So the biggest amount, single line item in the budget is the police fines. That's been sitting at about $300,000 for the last few years. We left it there, and that is actually the first item that we need to discuss, because y'all know the police force isn't fully staffed. So we will, if I were to make an educated guess, we're not going to attain the $300,000 this year. Everything in the next few sections is kind of from the state. So we got local government on 8 subdivisions at 56. Right now, that's sitting at 58 from last year. So I think 56 is still a good number. Your code enforcement, this is kind of new this year. We based that based off, I believe it was $250 a month for the year, or no, $2,500. Sorry. $250 a week. All right.
It's at 10 right now.
Where'd the 10 come from?
It's at 10,000. That's assuming about $250 a week.
Oh, okay.
For 40 weeks.
Okay.
For 40 weeks. Okay, that's what I was on.
The next is franchise fees. $230,000 is an increase of $5,000 from last year. Last year you're sitting at 225.5. Your insurance tax is $175,000. Y'all get one lump sum payment towards the end of the year of about $179,000 is what you got this year. In total for this year, you're sitting at $240,000.
For
I'm sure
insurance,
that was from. Go ahead.
for insurance,
For your insurance tax
Tax,
for the
okay.
NASC. Yeah. Last year, you're sitting just over 239,000. But there's a lot of small payments that came in. I'm not sure how much of that was from the previous fiscal year. That was just kind of, coming through late.
okay.
Next is your telecommunications. you're sitting at right at $3,000 to $4,000 a year on that for the last 3 years. Same with the broker's tax. Then this debt set off, you'll notice it went down a good bit. That's because the debt set off from last year, I believe, was everything that was paid through that program, when in reality, it should just be the extra $25 y'all received for using the program. And that, you know, that's assuming you use it about 20 times.
Okay, I'm looking at the profit and loss statement ending June 2024, and it's showing debt set off at $2,802.63.
Correct. And some of that is from the police fines that were not received when people used a credit or debit card or gave you cash, gave you a check that bounced. So what happened was that the MASC gave you the debt set off payment to cover your loss and an additional $25. That whole amount has been applied to that account, when in reality it should have just been the $25. And the rest of it should have gone to police fines. I've been working with Brittany to figure out how many of those there are so that we can adjust that to actuals.
Okay, thank you.
The next one's your business license. This is gonna be your one of your larger ones. We have $260,000. In actuality, for last year, you had 275,000. This is assuming, of course, we have the same number of businesses in the town, and we don't grow, and we don't lose any.
Okay,
This interest, most of this is gonna come from your LGIP fund. You're getting about $45,000 to $5,000 a month in that. So about 60,000. I think I said we'll probably have about 59 and some change.
okay,
And that's of course assuming we don't take anything out, we don't put anything new in,
okay.
which I know you'll probably put some more in once you're able to.
Let me ask a question that might clarify for some folks here. We don't have anything besides work, building permits, garage sale permits, construction plan review. And that is because the county is going to be doing all of our permitting, correct? Okay, so we're not showing any income there, all right? And as towing and storage fees, when we made the decision and voted to close the tow yard, that's gonna do away with towing and storage fees. Everybody on spot with that, okay. And grants, we just pray that God sends us some when somebody applies for some.
We'll work on
Okay, all right, and the interest you explained,
Well,
okay?
he's just gonna say, I think we have to.
Oh, we
apply
need to
for it.
just get them, they just need to follow that.
Yeah, just rain some money in my cheek.
We'll work.
But other income, because of closing the tow yard, auction and asset sales may not generate that amount of income, because that's where that figure came from with auction. Did you know anything different that we don't understand with that, Adam?
No, we chose this number, we kind of came up with this number based off what we believe is left in the tow yard. That's actually why it's in blue. It's one of those items we need to kind of discuss and say, do you think this is reasonable?
30.
All right, there are 30 cars approximately left in the tow yard. How many of them would be up for auction?
A lot of them are in the legal process,
Okay,
but we don't have
Spread.
ownership yet. We don't have titles yet.
Within 6 months, they may be prepped and ready to go.
Okay.
They're fluctuating in percentages right now.
30
Uh,
cars, 30 cars.
Probably 30 abandoned cars, and there's three or four that have gone through the liquidation with drug seizure, narcotics, and everything. And it's not been completed with obtaining the title, but that's a separate one. But collectively, I would say probably maybe 35 or 36 total unit vehicles back there.
Okay,
Can I ask a question, so, just, so I can understand this a little bit better? So is the 40,000 from the towing and storage fees, just the towing and storage, and then when we sell them, it's, somewhere between 24,000 to 37,500. So if I took the 40 and the 37,500, I have 77,500 that the tow yard brings in?
No, so the 40,000 for the tow yard is from last year's budget. That's, the left column is last year's, the right column is this year's.
Okay, so we don't have
So
anything.
this year's actually zero.
Right, because we're not getting it, we haven't done it right, because we decided not to
right,
have it. But what I'm saying is, in the past, our revenue from the tow yard was 77,500
It would have been the 40,000.
plus the 37 or the 24.
Normally is achieved, and then the 24, assuming we sold, that's assuming we sell it for a certain price.
minus what it cost us to get the title process completed and what it cost us in
Right, that's what I was
officer
wondering.
hours. It's never
Right.
totally been figured like that, so
Yeah,
that's not actually quote unquote what we made off of it.
right.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking,
We've
where's
got
that
to go
breakdown?
through. It has not been broken down before, okay? But we need to break that down.
Because I'm like, that's
Well,
not,
it's not clear.
we could up that up to 100 of storage. When I had my grandson's towed, it was $250 just to tow it, and then it was $100 a day. We could make some serious. I'm looking at this
No.
going, whoa.
No, it's always been a challenge for us to do this and have this clear cut process in place for having a tow yard, collecting the storage fees, and it really takes hours of officers' time to get things processed. So it might look good to say that it will make us money, but it hasn't. I would say in the past, if we have cleared $15,000 off of that,
Sure.
taking into account everything.
Yeah.
And there's really no way to figure it because we don't know exactly how many hours officers have involved in it unless we totally document it, so
Sure.
let us know each time, so.
It has been fluid in the past and accounting for shift change and trying to monopolize and your time management, say, well, you have to release a vehicle, do it at shift change versus bring an officer back on the road and things like that. Accounting for the officer who's assigned to the tow yard, accounting for things such as certified mail, postage and things like that.
Yeah, so
Which
those, we don't
which-
have those breakdowns.
That was unfortunately no, and it should have been.
And that's a good question because it should have been managed.
Well, I'm just
like
saying,
that.
I'm seeing it and I'm thinking, oh, that looks like a really good.
I'm seeing it too.
And I'm like, I see a business here.
Sure.
Like,
It's not, so, yeah,
I might need a tow yard.
yeah,
Yes.
okay. All right, continue, Adam, thank you.
Sorry.
Right. So, next one, you'll see the big red square, that's where the SRO salary was. Since the sheriff's office taking it over, that $75,000 will not be going to the town, it'll end up going to the sheriff. So that's not a zero. Event festival income, we kept it $5,000. Same with the police, drug, and the miscellaneous, we just said $10,000, because what happens is there's always going to be an expense that comes up or just random revenue that you forgot about from years ago that someone somehow finds. So we kept that at, we doubled that and put it at 10,000.
Okay, so in essence, looking at the profit and loss, the actual profit and loss document, we are like $53,000 off of what we projected that we've actually received, correct? Because this is 1.283 and on the profit and loss statement it's 1.230.
Yes, it's 76,000 some change.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do y'all have other
And which
questions?
most of it, that's already.
Okay, makes sense.
Difference is that, that's all.
Yeah, does anybody have other questions on the
Um,
revenue?
So what's the 5,000 festival income? from?
It has been put in the budget year after year in the event that we have a festival that folks paid to come to.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
am I correct? Am I correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I mean,
Yes, Council.
historically, Dwayne, on your other term, was that in there?
That was never explained.
Okay.
I'm just
Could
asking.
I ask a question? Are you projecting any expenses for said events or festivals within the budget? Or are you just showing 5,000 revenue coming in without any type of
There
expenses going out?
Yeah, it's in the,
It is.
it's in the expense, yeah.
Yes, there's $3,000.
Okay.
So how is it from the licensing, I mean, getting a license, or how, I don't understand. You mean people pay to come to the event? I'm confused at how we derive it.
Sponsorship, saying the festival sponsored by.
Oh,
okay, that's
okay,
right.
okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Sponsorship.
Sponsorships, that's what I'm looking for.
And then you can also, I mean, you can charge $2 to get it or something.
I mean, yes, it could be.
There's numbers.
Any other questions about revenue? Okay, all right, let's go to the expenses unless, are y'all good? Okay. Adam, are we good with this?
We'll need to go back to 2 items,
Okay,
but let's go through the expenses, then we'll talk about the other 2 items.
okay, all right,
Right, so your biggest expense for the year is obviously gonna be wages. Full-time, we're projecting about $330,000. And that, you can see on the right, just for the salaries of the people we anticipate having. So that's a chief, a lieutenant, or sergeant level, and 2 officers, code enforcement, town clerk, and then of course the council members. It comes to $329,800, I just put it to a nice $330,000. We did have a little bit for a part-time report at $13,500. I'm not sure where y'all stand on that, but that is in here, in case that is something you decide to do.
right,
And then, of course, council is another 100,000. All that, then we come down to retirement, which is just basically a certain percentage of that based off of our new work, such as police and then the town clerk, and if we did the clerk report, there's certain retirement rates. That comes to around 70,000. Insurance, you're sitting around 65,000 for the year. Same with dental and vision. I lump those two together because vision's not very much. And then FICA is just calculated as a certain percentage of their pay.
Quick
All
question,
the rest of
Adam,
these are-
Adam, so why is the health and dental so much more for 25, fiscal year 25 and 24?
I think we ended up getting, I'm gonna defer to Gary on that. I believe we ended up having a, proposal for that amount. I'm not 100% sure where that's gonna land though.
Yeah, that's like 30,000
So-
more.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that,
Yes.
if I may, there's
Yes.
a couple things that can affect health insurance, and I don't know where things stand on this. One is, obviously, there are drastic increases happening with the health premiums today. Especially in the private market, even the state PIVA, which is a large pool, 18% increases and stuff. So, and in the private sector market, it's even higher than that sometimes. So that's one. 2, if you have an employee change their coverage level, so somebody could go from employee only to full family, or go from employee only to employee independence, that can cause some drastic changes, with regards to your contribution level. Again, I don't know what has occurred here, any of
right, I'm
the
sure,
changes
I'm
in
sure some of those have, yeah.
in coverage, but coverage changes along with what health premiums are doing today. I mean, it's 30,000, that's a lot, but those could be contributing factors to
Well-
that.
Actually, Adam, on the profit and loss, it says 48,978, 48,978.
And that 65,000 would come for a health insurance projected for this year is assuming that we have a full police department, correct?
Yes, should.
Yes.
Yeah, and notes are coming here. Carrie says she's not sure where that figure exactly came from with the numbers. She'll check with Brett, who does the personnel.
Quick question, who maintains what we're currently paying for premiums? Is that something Carrie knows, or is that?
Carrie knows and the CPAs know.
Adam,
Adam, do you know that figure, or is that solely Brett's?
Brett is more familiar with that, but.
Brett does
I'm
personnel.
not here with Brett and understand what the premiums are, and I'll take it.
How, do we look at this periodically to make sure we're getting the best rate
We
with the
should,
best
but we
coverage?
don't.
Because I don't know that, I mean, I'd like to know that, because I know Carrie was mentioning that she didn't get very, she had to pay a lot out of pocket from her surgery.
Yeah, and it has been asked several years in a row to reevaluate and to go with people, because that seems to be the better, but we're not, we're with the individual level.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
Okay.
Why don't, let's have a conversation about
Okay.
that outside of this,
Yeah.
let's not get bogged down,
Okay.
but I think
Yeah.
that's something. that
So
needs to
that's
be looked
something
at.
that we need to make a note on, okay?
You have to shop it to keep it honest.
Yeah, I did that with my
Okay.
car now.
All right,
So currently with Blue Cross Blue Shield, just for health insurance, you're looking at about $4,500 in premiums a month
Per employee,
for the whole town.
for all employees.
I thought you said 4,500.
He did.
You did.
Per month. That's for everybody.
Per month, so that's 54,000.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay. All right,
Yeah, but it's lower because we don't have any, we've gotten rid of people, so, I mean, or we don't have certain employees anymore, right?
There's only 2 full-time employees with benefits.
yeah, right now, there's only two, but this is looking at.
Like it will be
Staff,
fully
right.
staffed, okay.
This is looking at full staffing.
Clerk of court.
Yeah, since you're definitely, obviously.
Gary says it's lower now.
August is almost gone.
Yeah.
These numbers, you're not gonna hit their full budget with water. But we wanna do it so that we assume that we would have everyone for a year, run with that, and then we can amend and kind of,
Gary's saying-
redelegate from there if we decide that.
Carrie's gonna check in the morning, okay? Good questions, that's why we're here, okay? Okay. And
So then we're gonna go down to professional services.
that do us, Adam, I'm sorry. Do one favor for all of council that is here. Explain just the percentages of FICA, SUDA, Social Security, and FUTA, so that everybody understands that on top of the paycheck that we pay, we still pay, other expenses. In other words, the town has a portion, the employee has a portion to pay, okay?
Yes. Yes, so for FICA, which is Social Security Medicare, you're looking at 6.2 and 1.45% that both the employee and the employer pays. You also have state unemployment tax, so your SUDA and federal unemployment tax. Both of those are very small. Those are both very small amounts, so they won't be significant in the grand scheme of things, but with more employees, they will add up over time.
They're like,
And
okay,
in total, what I've done with this breakout, I don't know if y'all see this or not.
Yeah, they
this
do. They
breakout,
have it.
You can actually see
Yeah.
what
it's
the
all-
total city cost is for, and obviously for the officers divided by 2, because there's 2 of them in it.
Can I go back to a revenue question real quick? I hate to skip back, but it just popped in my mind. With y'all adopting the local hospitality tax, have y'all accounted for 6 months of revenue in this budget? If it were to start January 1, which is a conversation I need to have with y'all have not accounted for any tax revenue?
We have no clue, like, we don't even have a measure of it.
And that's something Carrie and I
Mhm.
spoke about that today. I think we can measure that and possibly come back with a type of budget amendment to put some of that revenue in, because you essentially will have 6 months worth of revenue if you begin January 1 with collections. So
Valid, very
some-
valid.
something we could come back and talk about.
Thank you.
But that could be through a budget amendment.
Okay. All right, moving forward, thank you.
Okay, so moving forward, auditor, I believe, Carrie shared with me the quote y'all agreed to for $9,900 with the new auditor. The judge, we left as same as last year. The next are the indigent attorney and the regular attorney. Those are green, those are something new, or that council, I think, needs to make a determination as to how they want to calculate what they get paid. If it's based on a per case basis or whatever it is, that's fine. It's just one of those items that we're gonna have to defer to y'all.
Thank you.
Your IT services, that's just your monthly contract, $39,000. CPA services is us. The judicial services for Lexington County, that's just as held the same as last year. I believe last year it was at just over 7,000. It was like $7,100. And then your professional services was so high last year. Since we've broken them out a little bit more, we took that down.
Okay, they've been subdivided, in other words,
Right.
or placed in the
They
appropriate,
put your IT services.
in the appropriate section. Thank you. Okay,
And then building and permanent inspector, we did 0 there because we're no longer using, I forgot the name,
safe bill.
the outsource.
Okay.
Safe bill, there we go. Next is your insurance. Ms. Campbell sent me the quote for this year. It was 35,000, which is a combination of all of these, I believe.
It's a combination of tort, workman's comp, and the vehicle liability.
Vehicle, the inland marina, buildings and content, all of that. The one thing that we spoke about Friday was adding the cyber insurance.
We need to add cyber insurance.
Like we said, Friday, we plugged in $2,000. I don't know what a good amount for that would be. That would be something that once we get a quote, we can plug in the final number.
Municipal Association offers cyber insurance policy. Is that why?
Okay.
That's who we went with.
Okay.
Or still a preferred vendor or
I
something.
think, yeah, I think we had looked at that. And I just don't think anything's ever followed through with it. We actually, basically, I think, voted to move forward, but I don't know if anything was ever.
So is someone auditing our workers' comp insurance? Because we heard in that meeting that a lot of people were paying for that for employees that were no longer employed with them. Have we,
How would we audit that, Adam?
Well, you should have a workers' comp audit from the workers' comp, whoever provides that to you. And they should go through and see all the employees y'all have and make sure that they're not charging you for something new.
All right, I guess we checked with Carrie on that.
And Carrie's doing it.
Yeah, she's putting something in.
She said she's doing that now.
Yeah.
It's the
She
names.
asked for a list of names.
So,
Because you're exactly right, we did hear that from one individual that said they had saved loads of money.
Same thing with insurance, you never know if you,
And that Carrie checked on that
Yeah.
to begin with.
especially with so many people leaving, I want to make sure.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Moving on, you have landscaping, that should basic monthly fee that y'all agreed to there. Same with janitorial.
Okay.
Building repairs, we have $20,000 listed. That's assuming that any repairs to that building are needed for this year.
Okay, the
Equipment
janitor,
repairs, we kind of kept that the same. There's not a lot of equipment that doesn't fall within under the police, group.
Okay. Debbie has a question.
I'm just curious, like, do we have a maintenance person? So,
We don't have a maintenance person. There's a
Janitorial.
company that
Cleaning.
provides janitorial
for
cleaning
cleaning
services.
services, okay.
Yeah, we don't have a maintenance person.
What day do they
Like,
Yeah.
do they clean our bathroom outside?
Tuesday.
Tuesday or something,
We can talk, that's
Yeah.
another
I just
That's a
conversation.
wondered.
conversation.
Yeah, so none of the maintenance is like an actual person?
No,
Okay.
if anything needs.
You're the
fixed-
main,
I changed 8 light bulbs yesterday in the department.
Well, if anything normally needs maintenance,
yeah,
like electrical,
Yeah.
HVAC,
Yeah.
then a company is
This
called.
one needs some.
Yeah, because it ends up being quote,
Okay.
unquote, an emergency kind of situation. Normally,
Yeah.
plumbing, same thing, okay. And we probably need to discuss, how to move forward with that in the future. In light of this building. Okay, thank you, Adam. I think we can move forward now.
Right.
Yeah,
Your next group is your, vehicle repairs, maintenance, upgrades, that's all police, so those cars get used a good bit. So your new tires, oil change, all that kind of stuff, we have 15,000 compared to last year at 12.
Okay.
And then lastly is pest control.
Why
Pest control last year was only $800, but I believe that y'all are now on a quarterly $400 fee, so that actually needs to change a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the type of one,
Yeah, and that can scale like 60.
I'm sorry, say again.
So I did 400 based off monthly, it's actually quarterly. So it went from 4,000 to 1,600
Okay.
for pest control.
Ah, good. Please take yours down. Yeah,
Extra triggers.
yeah.
it was for the right. It's for lizards. Stays.
Okay,
And then, I know you don't have advertising, you don't have to put stuff in the paper,
right.
Membership dues would be like your MASC, your town clerk group, clerk court, that kind of thing. Your software licenses and subscriptions, those are mainly your Axon Body and Axon Car. They're 12,000, 8,000. So we're getting 20,000 once there, and then I know we have some other subscriptions that you'll have that we do every month.
I wrote this.
In addition to that.
On this side, is it in here now?
Ms. Byers? next.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
If I may, objection. Looking at the budget for the Leads Online software, we haven't had that in the last 2 years. That can be redacted all the way for $1,100. We haven't used that.
Okay, that would be a subscription on a software.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am, we have not used that. That was discontinued over 2 years ago.
All right.
You're saying that can come down to 28.
Yes, that's correct,
It
yes.
leads from subscriptions, okay.
And I'll verify that, but again, I personally spoke with former Chief Shumpert about that, and we elected to remove that and discontinue that service some time ago.
Okay. So, Adam, did you hear that comment from Chief?
I heard that there was a software that you no longer using, and I heard 28,000.
Okay, Carrie says that it's not in line, yeah. Carrie says it's not in that line item.
Uh,
Okay,
No,
it might be on the report that,
Yes,
We might,
that you're working on.
yeah, we might be looking at an older one.
Mhm.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right,
So now we have, our police dedicated stuff, such as radio, that's gonna stay about the same as last year. Cellular communication, because we're talking about getting, cell for the laptops in the car. And then GPS for the police department vehicles. This was highlighted green because I have no idea how much that was gonna cost. So we.
We-
$5,000.
we had discussed in front of full council that the council was going to buy cell phones which had GPS capabilities, which was going to be a whole lot cheaper than installing GPS in the cars. You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
So I don't know where that is in the process as far as buying cell phones.
Did we vote to buy cell phones?
Well, we didn't vote, but we discussed that that would be a more efficient and inexpensive way instead of sticking GPS trackers on all the vehicles.
What did y'all do?
We had a vehicle GPS through a company called Vestige GPS, which operates off of Verizon Wireless. And I actually just pulled it up for the town. It was 7,600, but that was on like 20-something patrol cars for a year for the Vestige GPS. But 7,600 over almost 20 vehicles. It really wasn't that costly to do, but it's right through Verizon.
Carrie, is that in addition to
Something.
cell phones? She just keeps.
And that was for the year.
I know,
Yeah, can you see?
not very good. No, just as much.
It's a bundle, she said, with the phone and the GPS with Verizon. So we need to decide, we need to vote, I guess, to decide about purchasing cell phones for the officers. Did your officers have cell phones
No,
owned by the town?
no, we didn't. Part of it, and I don't know, and I need a chance.
Okay, that's a discussion for the future.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good, let's move forward, yeah. And you can bring that information back to council, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Yes,
The next two are town goodwill and contributions. Those are your sponsorships like Little League and other places y'all get donations to.
yeah, we have to decide on that because we were told in a meeting Friday that we have to have them submit to us what they have used those funds for legally. What it is.
Well, they also said that that's not what municipal government is for. So-
Yeah.
So I heard that loud.
Yeah. You want,
I don't recommend doing it.
I agree.
And here's the reason why. It's not that you don't want to support, because you certainly do want to support. The problem is if you're given a select amount of money, then it becomes, well, you gave them money.
Right.
You didn't give us money.
Yeah.
And we avoided it altogether in the town. I mean, you're ultimately taking taxpayer money and business license money, and you're turning around and selecting groups that you want to give it to. And then if you don't give it to one group, I would argue you set yourself up for potential.
okay, do we need to write an ordinance to
Mhm.
support that?
It doesn't have to be an ordinance, you just take a stance that you're not gonna do, and you just don't fund it in the budget. I don't think you codify that by ordinance. It's just a policy
I
stance
agree.
that you take.
Let's not do it. I think it upsets one person.
Okay, so we're gonna take that out,
Right.
I mean, we could come back with an internal policy. that
Yeah.
you
we do, but we also are gonna have to announce to the public that the town wants to do that because there have been existing contributions for years, that kind of sort of been dependent on.
And again, it's not meant to be a lack of support, it's just meant to
And
be.
you know what, it doesn't say council can come together and give a donation out of our
Oh,
pocket.
that's
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Business,
Perfect, yeah.
businesses do it for advertising.
Mhm.
We're not for profits.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, thank you.
Your next item is jury costs, kept at the same $350. There's not a lot of jury cases, so that seems reasonable. And then, I think it was Mr. Crouch that said earlier, event expenses is $3,000.
We need to add the sign animation package, that would be under,
Software.
it would be under subscription software licenses. Because it's a 5-year Carrie says yes. And how much is it, Carrie? Keep going.
1,800 a year. The next is your state assessments. Your state assessments for last year, you received 164,000. We currently have 100,000 listed here. The assumption is that since we are missing some officers, we will not have the same amount going to the court as we have in the past. So that is why we lowered that.
Okay.
And it's roughly 12 to 13,000 a month.
Okay. Right.
The next are just kind of general supplies. We have office supplies, furniture at 8,000, a little increase from last year. Your equipment supplies for the police department, your investigation supplies at 1,000. And then your police uniforms, which is supposed to be for their actual on-duty uniform, and then some sort of formal uniform in case of, death in the force or something along that line.
All right, answer a quick question. On the profit and loss, under investigation supplies, last year we had $14,776.75. Why is that, why was that so high? Do you know right offhand? Because-
I don't know off the top of my head, but if you give me 1 second.
Because we got a couple $1,000 here.
Investigation supplies, there was a $5,300 body cam starter pack, and then there was an 8,000 police body / in-car camera system.
Was that
So those
Axon?
together,
That should all be under Axon.
14,000.
That's Axon. Okay.
That's excellent.
All right, so
Yes.
Carrie says it's the lease package in there for, send it to me again, Carrie. I lost it. It popped out too fast.
It's the leased equipment like the printer and postage machine under equipment.
It should be.
No, we have, that should be the postage for Pitney Bowes, I believe.
Okay, it's only 3,000.
So Adam, tell me what the equipment supplies jumping up 8,000, what was that about?
Axon. We had to
That's
buy, and now we have to pay the lease subscription, the
Correct.
use, I'm gonna call it the usage.
But I thought that
Package
was under
under every year.
Subscription, so would we have this again if we already bought it?
So last year, there's 3 items between these 2 accounts that are making your numbers increase.
Okay.
There was an Axon purchase for $6,600 under equipment supplies.
Okay.
There was another Axon purchase for $5,300 under the investigation supplies. And then there was another $8,000 for the in-camera system in the car.
Okay.
That's also under the investigation supplies. So investigation supplies for last year was $14,000.
Oh, wow.
Take those 2 out, you're just over $1,000.
Okay.
So
So
our police
those-
departments are our police officers in our department are very well equipped to do their job with all of these things that are in this budget now.
We are.
Correct.
24th century.
We're in the
Science.
24th century.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Let's go.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So we shouldn't need anything supply-wise like that for several years to come.
Other than just server maintenance fees, that is completely it for quite some time, many years. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
In council, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so then we had, fuel for patrol cars, up all the expenses and things. So we kept that the same at around 26,000.
I have a
the
quick-
Pitney Bowes, which is your van.
I have a quick question to the officers.
Yes.
What happens to the uniforms when they turn them back in?
They, the uniforms are reviewed, and because there's a non-trade-in policy and whatnot, most of which are dilapidated and reviewed and
Worn.
everything. And so what I do is receiving the information, everything, the patches are removed to avoid a secondary exposure by, people going through the trash and stuff like that. And some are reverted to training uniforms, everything for just yearly ground fighting and things like that. We have to certify and things like that. And I prefer the officers to use those instead of the normal uniforms. That way they avoid rip and tear, and then we have replacement things like that.
Okay. Right.
So your Pitney Bowes, $3,000, that's your mail. That machine. Copier includes that's $3,000. And then your janitorial supplies, so just, regular cleaning items, toilet paper, that kind of stuff, $500 for the year. Next group is your utilities. The water's $350 for the year. Just trying to see. Last year you were just shy of 200. Gas and electric, that's 25,000. Last year you were sitting at 26. Carolina Connect, you're at 2,500. Telephone's 4,000, and then your stormwater is 10,000.
Okay.
We good?
Yeah, you can move forward. Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. So next is training. This goes for every department. Meals, lodging, mileage, and registration for whether it's MASC conference, training for the police department, maybe clerk of court, town clerk, something like that, getting more training on certain items or certain aspects that go around town. We kind of try to split that out. Lodging is mostly going to be hotels. Mileage is mileage. Registration, we increased that with the assumption that everyone would at least go to one training this year, both council and employees.
Okay.
Next, we have your, kind of miscellaneous. You got credit card fees. That's where if someone uses a credit card, you get charged a 2% fee from the processor. That's that. Bank charges. It's inevitable they're going to charge you something. I think this year y'all are sitting just over $2,600, but we're going to try and make that a little bit better this year.
Good.
Adam, can we go back to the lodging under training? Why did it jump up so much? It went from
Lodging was
3,000
assuming-
to 18,000, and I guess I'm looking at my June report here. Where we are currently. Where we were at the end of June.
We're assuming everyone's going to training, so that'd be 4 officers, town clerk, a clerk of court, if you ended up going that way, and then 5 council members.
Didn't have done that before. Just that new, I don't know. Chief, is that?
Yeah, but
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Is that the new, the officers training overnight? Is that something new? Have we done that before?
That would be an exceptional a training, a very specialized training event and everything. I think the bottom could be lowered quite substantially.
Generally, trainings are close by regional,
Yes.
and
I
it's
guess I'm just looking at going
Yeah.
from 3,000 to 18,000. That's a big jump. That's $15,000.
That,
Well,
That's a lot.
actually,
So
even if all the council.
Gary said the chief's training and SROs alone are 3,500 together, and those are overnight.
she sent us that. Oh. Did she not send that?
I think with the staff size that you have here, you could literally do kind of an accounting of who intends to go to what. And it's gonna require overnight stay, how many nights. I mean, if you take an average 4-night at a conference, you're probably at $1,200 for the hotel, something like that, because normally they have block group rates. But I think you could, based on the number of employees you could have, you could get with Carrie, okay, what what are you planning to go to this year? Let's assume
Well-
5 of y'all go to MASC and
Well, that's how that was based according to, yeah.
Okay.
So we can reassess that because we know everybody's not going to go to every training. Even council is not gonna go to, MASC, because all of council normally does not do that. And she was including in that training for clerk.
The chief's SRO at 35, and then the clerk report, town clerk for 1,500, he says like 3,000. So that's 7,500 roughly for the four of them. Now, I know we don't have the SRO, so we can take maybe 1,500 from that. So we're looking at $5,500 for registration for everything. And then you have the different meetings, like I know MASC was earlier this month, or late last month, early this month, up here in Greenville. So I know people were here for at least one night.
Yeah, we haven't in
We
the
need
past,
to.
we need to, because we are charged a fee.
Yeah, I think we need to put that back on consent.
And that's on the revenue page that, did we not have that?
I mean, if I use my card in Carolina, they charge me.
Adam, we need to put a line item on the revenue page.
Okay.
For,
merchant fees.
merchant fees, yeah, thank you. And we need to assess that, how many,
And then you need to pass an ordinance that comes up with the percentage rate of what you're gonna charge for the merchant fee. You need to at least charge what they're charging. So if they're
Exactly.
charging 2.75% or whatever they may be charging, you need to at least do that. It's not worth eating thousands of dollars just to use a
Make it,
debit card.
yeah.
right,
If I may add, counsel, within the court system, whenever a defendant is granted a scheduled time payment, we pass on the 3% scheduled time payment on to the defendant, which I think would fall in line with your proposal, Tim.
How are they using debit cards?
If they're allotted a scheduled time payment, the state has to assess a 3%, the state has to allot a 3% percentage because they're going on to a scheduled time payment and everything like that. So, so when that occurs, the state passes that on to the defendant, and so realistically, it's not fair for the town to incur that cost. And so we pass it back on to the defendant and everything like that, and they sign an acknowledgement waiver, understanding, yes, I acknowledge I'm entering into the scheduled time payment, and I acknowledge that I'm being charged a 3% fee.
But is that
Well,
related to
the
an
license.
actual merchant fee or is that
no,
just a-
no, because we don't charge any merchant, nothing's charged merchant fees.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
I was using it as a parallel
No.
example.
And that, yeah, and
But
that's
licenses.
good, yeah.
Yeah, I could use it. License.
Like where you, yeah, if you use credit card for business license, that's not on it. We need to discuss that, I agree, yeah. Good, thank you, Adam. Okay,
The last one, last really big item, is your miscellaneous expense. I put that at 10,000. It's inevitable. You're gonna have something come up for some reason that you're unexpected. And then you have your two payments for the Ford SUV and the Tahoe.
I don't see,
I don't
so
see
what, you didn't put
miscellaneous.
miscellaneous on this one. You must have added that after we talked,
I might have.
and that's under other.
And how much is it, did you say?
I put 10,000. Normally when it is, it's like an air conditioning going out, it's gonna cost you a few $1,000s to fix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all that being said, all that being added up, you're coming at a surplus of just under $39,000. That number has changed since last night because of the 10,000 and a few other things I tweaked this morning.
Okay,
Would you leave it
39,
at
7, 8, 80.
38.7. And I'll send you a copy of this once we get
Okay, okay. And we need to decide, Adam and I have talked, in discussing all of this on Friday, that we need to go ahead and use the, ARPA funds to take these vehicle leases out of here, because that will adjust our budget each year to not have that payment out of general fund. It will come out of the ARPA money, and I think it's been coming out of ARPA money. Carrie, do we have a list of what's been paid out of ARPA money and how much we have used? Okay. Can you get us that list together, please? She said, I sure will. So that will help us, because we have 2 payments left on the 2021 SUV. Whose is that one? Is that yours, Jonas, or the other?
There's 2 of them. There's 2 Explorers.
Okay.
That is saving, I have to look at the VIN number.
Okay, okay.
But
Is
they're all,
yours a 21?
21.
they're both.
They're both 21s?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
The Tahoes are 22s. The Explorers are 21s.
Small is paid off.
Yeah, okay. I think we actually have possibly missed payment, on the Explorers. Overlooked a payment that got lost in the email or some kind of system, I'm not sure, because they should both be the same. They were both, all 4 were purchased very close together, so they should be on the same kind of schedule payment. So you need to Carrie, can you investigate that, please? All right, one was paid off because of the accident, but why are we still, why have we not paid off one of the Explorers? We need to investigate that to make sure that that is an accurate amount.
Say,
They
tell
were
me
both-
again,
all
the
of-
Tahoes are the
How long were
2022?
the lease purchase?
Yes, ma'am. The
Explorers
Tahoes
are
are,
21?
And the Tahoes are
Tahoes
22s.
22s.
Correct.
yes, ma'am.
So for the Ford Motor Credit, we had 2 payments, one late 22 and one late 23, both for 18,327.
So
I think
22,
this is gonna be your last payment.
all right, Adam, can you research in your records to find out if these have been paid? Well, there's still 2 on here.
I'm looking here, these are the 2 invoices we've got for Ford. One was for December 22, one was December 23, you have 1 payment a year.
But those are older vehicles than the Tahoes.
Yes.
I think by mere months, but yes, I know that the day that we drove down to Georgia, we certainly picked them both up the same day and drove them back.
The 2 Explorers.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
And did we already have the Tahoes at that time?
To my recollection, yes.
Okay. All right, I just want to make sure that we are on task with the figures that we need to be.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of anything not being paid. Are you
Because
sure?
one slipped up. Am I not correct, Carrie? She said they were paid, but I think one got through. It was when the accident happened.
Sure.
Okay. We need to investigate and make sure that, yes, due April, I came in, it was paid in, yeah, it was due in April and got paid in October.
So
Okay.
one of the Tahoes is paid.
Mm-hmm. Last year, yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we have 1 payment on the Tahoe and 2 on,
I'm showing 2, never,
But the other one are not as paid.
Yeah. okay. All right. So our bottom, if you'll send that updated, that'd be great.
Well,
Okay. Some of the other things that we,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying, if you made the changes while we were going through, that would, okay.
So,
And then, I was gonna say, like I said at the beginning, there's a few things that we kind of needed to decide. One of them for the expense side is building repairs. Like I said, we have $20,000 in there in case something happens. I don't know if y'all had planned something like, I don't know, any sort of renovation or anything along that line.
We don't.
If you have, that's fine. I have $20,000 here, that's something I was gonna defer to y'all about.
Can we go back to the wages? I see we don't have anything under bonuses, and I think we need to go ahead and decide right now what we're gonna do for Christmas. And that way it's in our budget, and we know, so when Christmas comes around, we'll know what we budgeted for Christmas bonuses for our employees. Whether that's whatever y'all, a certain amount for each employee, type thing.
That is,
I just know I've heard other municipalities, that's what they do, they don't discuss it right before Christmas, it's
Yeah.
in the budget, and everybody knows what it is.
Oh, last
And it's-
thing. What do you?
We budgeted Christmas bonus.
You do?
how did you,
How do you determine that?
It actually just got, put into the salary and wages line item for that department. It was, I had a spreadsheet.
but is it a percentage, or did you have a specific amount that everybody, a
Oh,
flat amount that everybody
So
got?
we started at $100. Year one, you walk through the door, the next year was 110, the next year was 120, next year 130,
Okay.
140. And then we did longevity service bonuses.
When we needed to.
At 5 years, you did 200, 10 years, 400, 15 years, 600, 20 years, 800. And then every 5 year after that, it would just stay at 800. So, but those were just shown in the salary and wages line item for that.
That's a great idea.
So, and the Christmas one wasn't meant to necessarily get people rich, but it was just a little show of something at Christmas time that could help them with Christmas presents for their kids
For dinner.
or dinner.
This day.
This day dinner.
Won't
for
get
four.
much.
Did it come with a ham?
Yeah, you're gonna get a ham. They're expensive now, we can't afford a ham.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you were saying Christmas bonuses, and what'd you call
Longevity
one?
award, service
Long-
awards.
Okay,
And we did them in 5 year increments. At one point, we were doing a Christmas bonus and a longevity award every year for every employee, and that, we had to cut back a little bit in the budget one year, so we decided to go with 5 year increments, versus getting the longevity every single year. We needed to pinch just like anybody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and
So
agree on
what
that,
is-
so it's just,
Adam, do you have access to know what we have historically done for Christmas bonus? I don't remember. Do you?
It's just been whatever somebody
Well, but it goes out as,
pull out of there.
right, it goes out,
I think it needs to be,
but it goes out from Green Benny as Christmas bonus. It was not included in salary, is that correct?
Did we do that last year, Chief?
No, ma'am, there was no issue, I understand the officer.
I'm not sure if y'all did that.
I don't remember doing it last year.
I would say codify, if you're gonna do something like this, codify it into your employee manual. If you say, okay, if you wanted to adopt the model that I just said, it's actually in our employee manual as a schedule of what you get. I
Do
would
we
say,
want it to be in the manual though? Would we want that?
well, I mean, if you're making a,
What if we want to change it or
well,
get more
here's the
or
thing,
less?
anytime you put something in place like that, it's really hard to get away from it. Because it
Okay.
can be an around buster, so you have to decide, is it something you wanna do or not wanna do?
I think it's
Well,
something
we
Because
had-
Gary said no bonus last year, and Jonas said no bonus last year, and I didn't remember, so, yeah.
But I think, for town size, we need to look at what could be offered to employees, just anything you can do for employees in a town this size is, I mean, the reality is you're competing with Casey, West Columbia, even Springdale, you've got neighboring cities, so you have to begin to offer other things.
some kind of incentive.
And I'm happy to talk with y'all further.
Yeah, let's talk about that at another time, I'm kind of supposed to.
I do.
Yeah.
I hope I get a Christmas card.
Gotta stay till Christmas.
We'll see if that's.
We're gonna come sing carols to you.
There you go.
Okay, Adam, what else do we need to,
Get a chicken.
The other items were the auction, that 37,500 based off the items that you still have in the tow yard. I wanted to see what y'all thought was a fair, reasonable number for that.
The cars in the tow yard, 35, that was going on. A couple of them are motorcycles and mopeds. I would go with 35.
okay,
Yeah, we-
Interim Chief Gordon is saying put 35 in there. Okay.
Yeah.
things like that.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that could pay those
Right.
like leases off.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the police fines. We've historically done 300,000 a year, and historically it's fallen short every year. So I didn't know if that was something y'all wanted to adjust.
What we gonna do,
Well,
Chief?
you gotta break it down, number one, you did.
Yes, ma'am.
What we gonna do, Chief? What we gonna do, Chief?
But, you know, Chief's gonna, I think Chief needs some time to get officers in, and you're already into the new budget year.
Sure.
and,
We are.
You know,
Let's put it at 250. Ted, does that seem reasonable?
Don't pull me, Jonas. Give me a ticket.
Because he's got 300 on here.
I,
And last year it was 224,816.
Get out there early this morning.
I will,
People come through our.
Yeah.
I will share with you my philosophy on budgeting. You revenue low and you expenditure high. It avoids you potentially hitting a deficit in any potential.
I haven't balanced budget.
Yeah.
Well, no, you balance the budget. You end up with a balanced budget, but you're just gonna revenue low, you're gonna create low revenue projections and higher expenditure, and you gotta balance off of that.
Sure.
Cause you don't wanna have a year where you end up spending more than you bring in and you lower that bank account down.
Okay.
Just a philosophical point that.
So
I
is
operate on.
250 good to put in there as,
What,
or is that too
Where
high?
are we now?
224,816.36.
225.
how far off are we from balancing? the budget
Yeah.
right now?
How far off?
So, but when we were at 300,000, we were over, but we had a surplus of about, I think it was 39.
39, yeah.
I'd deduct that off of that 300 balance sheet.
Yeah.
That's not great.
So,
Do you hear him?
can we do 270,000?
Well, that's,
$30,000 off. And
okay.
that'll show you a surplus of $7,000. And, based off the few expenses that y'all can, adjust, we can then look at lowering that number down.
I
That'll
would, yeah, I
basically
would
be
just
your
unbalance,
quote-unquote figure.
I would just balance the budget off of the police fines. However, I know he's gotta make some changes and stuff,
But, yeah,
but after he's made changes, if he's gotta deduct something off of revenue to balance budget, deduct it off of police fines.
okay, are you hearing that, Adam?
I did.
Yeah, okay. Are we working with that, folks? I mean, I think that's logical. Okay. All right, other questions?
Just like professional services like yours, Carol, GMK, where are those going?
There should be a budget item for other professional services on here.
Well, I saw professional services, but I'm just wondering, was that what that was? Under line up 45?
Honestly, I'm probably that information.
Right, it had, no, I know yours has that, but I'm saying like, we know we have those.
Yeah, where is it, Adam?
There's a section called professional services. That includes your auditor, that includes, your IT services, that includes
Okay.
us.
You see?
And then within
Yeah.
that, there is a professional services,
Under 45.
general ledger item just called professional services.
All right, put-
611,700.
Label that professional services dash other.
Okay.
So we know that other things go into that.
So that's where all that falls, is you and.
Is that correct?
That's currently saying 7,000. I don't believe I know exactly what the new agreement is with,
That's gonna have to adjust.
so I think we need to add that in there.
I thought I emailed that to you.
Did you?
Yes.
So where does ARPA, are y'all using anything, have y'all allocated anything towards ARPA at this point? Any funds?
Specifically, no, we just did revenue replacement, but specifically, I mean, we have allocated some money.
We have, yeah.
It has been.
But have y'all just taken it all at this point and put it in your general fund account?
No,
So you haven't just said we're doing all revenue replacement and just move it over?
We've said that,
we,
but we haven't moved
but
it
it
over.
hasn't been moved at this point.
It's making lots of good money.
Well, so it's in the LGIP.
No, that's just a clerical. What he's saying is just a clerical
Right.
thing.
Process.
You don't actually have to move the funds.
Right, but I mean, we haven't put it on this revenue
All
at
right.
all.
There needs to be a document that shows us what we literally have used out of ARPA funds so that we know what balance is there in the ARPA funds that we receive.
Cause it should be on a separate ledger.
It should be. Exactly.
Unless you have said we're just doing 100% revenue replacement and dropped it into your general fund and combined it with that.
We have not.
So there should be a separate ledger essentially. for
Will you
ARPA.
direct us on that?
I will. We
Okay.
can talk about that.
Adam, Ted is going to direct us on how to manage that ARPA ledger, okay?
It has to be.
It has to be.
Technically, those funds are supposed to be in a separate bank account.
We should have an updated version.
Unless you have allocated them to revenue replacement.
Well, they have been allocated to revenue replacement, but they have never been replaced.
There've been changes to that.
All of those funds are,
We have seen
No,
one.
I think what Ted's trying to say is that in 2026, at the end of this year, you have to determine what you're gonna use, or what you have to use ARPA funds for.
Right.
And you have to disperse the funds by 2026. So I think what he's saying is by the end of this year, that form that needs to be filled out needs to be determined, A, if you're doing revenue replacement,
because
100%,
it's basically.
then that's what needs to be
already.
formed. If
We
you
just
already
need to
have
decide.
determined what it's gonna be, what ARPA is gonna be used for, that, and then your total amount of ARPA received minus that then goes into revenue replacement.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I'll explain that in even more detail, in a few.
All right.
Okay. All right, so, other questions? Yeah. Okay,
So we're gonna edit the professional other and increase it?
I did, yes.
Okay, great.
so he will send that, you can just actually send that to all the council, okay? Okay, all right. Other questions? All right, we'll have to look at this, take a second look at it, and then work to, go through the process again, okay? Public hearing, blah, 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 blah. Explain how it's amended. I'm sorry?
I think the biggest thing is I'm gonna leave the items that you'll kind of have to determine
2 readings.
amongst yourself highlighted.
Thank you.
You'll know, kind of where to focus. Everything else, I'm gonna leave the way it is, and of course, if y'all wanna change anything, it's y'all's discretion, it's y'all's budget, y'all do what you wanna do. And we'll go from there.
All right, well, we'll do that under, any changes will come under advisement from you and from Ted after he gives us this discussion, okay?
Right.
All right, anything else on the budget? Thank you, Adam, I appreciate your time. Go have a good evening with your baby, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
everybody.
It's my golfers.
All right.
Oh.
Okay.
Been going
we
too
are
much.
out of the meeting.
It's at the back nine.
I really have.
Okay, we can,
Well, I'm glad you're here to help with this.
I have a number of questions.
Good.
I dang, there was one I meant to ask Adam before we got.
you want to adjourn the meeting because it's budget.
I would not recommend adjourning the meeting. You still have a quorum of council present discussing things.
I'm just asking,
Yeah, no, I would just keep it rolling.
okay?
We have some conversation.
Okay.
I think as long as the quorum's still here present discussing budget,
Okay.
we should stay live.
See.
All right. Would you take that to him and let him read that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are we passing notes?
Yes, I was sent a note that has specific, we can't talk about.
Okay.
So, I want to jump back real quick to the American Rescue Plan funds. I think revenue replacement, just seeing all this early on is the way to go. American Rescue Plan they got really loose. They were very restrictive when it first came out. And then over time, they just loosened it up and said, if you're under $10 million, you can just put that money in your bank account and use it for whatever you want. So technically, when you receive the ARPA funds, it should go into a separate bank account away from any other money. As long as you've not designated that money, which it sounds like to this point you have not designated that money. Well, my recommendation would probably be just take the ARPA money, classify it as revenue replacement, and move that money over to your regular bank account. Right now, I understand it's in LGIP, correct? So from a ledgering standpoint, from an audit standpoint, and what the federal government is going to want to see is it was separate, a decision was made, it was moved up. That's what they're.
It wasn't separate, I mean, it was in the general fund, when we moved it to LGI. So it hasn't always been in there, it was in our general fund. We moved it,
Right, and you moved it over to the LGIP.
yes.
So I would make the argument that you guys have deemed it to be revenue replacement, you've just
I
combined.
think we did, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure Carrie did that.
Well, then-
Clerk.
Right, okay, so revenue replacement, so that money's there for your use, essentially however you want to use it at this point. I just want to make sure the ledger, any ledgering showed that from the county standpoint.
Now. Council has voted, some specifics, that were to be, ARPA funds used for. Those funds have not been transferred from the local government investment back into our general fund. But I guess
Oh, no,
you're
let's
saying
stay
it's all
there
pretty
until
much
you're
the
ready to pay
same, you know, it's like, you know, you have two accounts at home,
Yeah,
but yet they're both your money.
yeah.
They're just in two different accounts.
Well, even the LGIP, I think it's fine if the money's, again, if the designation's been made that we just used it as revenue replacement, you're good at this point. But if that designation has not been made, while all the money can be in LGIP, you should have a general ledger that shows exactly what's allocated for, ARPA, and what's been allocated for your normal operating general fund. So if that's the case,
We just need to confirm that, will you?
Confirm that with Adam and Carrie and
I'm sure it has, I've been told it has.
but again, as long as it's been deemed revenue replacement, it can all be combined.
And you can use it for whatever
You can
now?
use it for whatever you want.
Okay, that's what
And
I'm.
I think Charlie Berry
Yeah.
will help us with that
Yeah.
too.
Anything under $10 million, they finally just said, use it for whatever you need. If you're over 10 million, you've got to apply specific uses within the realm of the law of what they said.
Thank you for that.
So,
I can tell that.
couple more, if y'all don't mind, I got a couple
Okay.
questions. So I know you do a lot of advertising for your rezonings or annexes, whatever it is. I'm assuming that's what the advertisements are, newspaper,
it's
public hearing.
basically
Public
newspaper,
hearing.
public hearing, that kind of thing.
Do y'all do many rezonings?
No.
Okay.
But I see
Nor
that,
annexation.
but I see it coming up.
Okay.
There's some land out
Do
there.
y'all
that's-
charge for rezoning requests?
That's
a good question.
Because here's the thing, it costs you money, if somebody requests a rezone, one, you've got staff time associated, two, you're gonna have to pay for the public notice to go in the paper. You shouldn't lose money on a rezoning request. If you're not charging for a rezoning request, it's costing you money. Because you're gonna have to run a $50 or $100 ad for the public
And
notice.
they're not cheap
And,
anymore,
and,
any
and,
of them.
and they're not cheap, so, you know, if,
So what's the average?
I think around $100 for a rezoning request, and that's really meant, you're not looking to get rich or make money off of it, you're just making sure you cover your costs
Right.
related to running the public hearing notices in the paper,
Right.
which you know, get in weekly papers around here.
The state is the best
Yes, I
one
would-
to
I
do.
would- I
A
would
lot of
recommend
people
state.
say the Chronicle, a lot of people say West Metro, but
All-
those are not regionally, accessed.
All the law says is you have to run it in a paper of circulation in your area. That's-
And I find the state to be the.
So that's one thing, wanna know if it's being charged, if not, probably need to look at that, especially if you're thinking rezoning request or in the future. And even if they're not, I would have it on the book just in case someone did come, cause there's no need for that to cost you money. Some things we we did where I came from, just asking questions. Do the shelters get used for many parties? Birthday parties?
Yes, they do. We need to we need
You do
to.
a shelter rental?
We
No,
do
they
not.
just, you get whoever comes to the park.
First, it's first come, first serve.
So shelter rentals or something, and the way we've always promoted that is not that we're looking to guarantee that you have that shelter for your birthday party. You paying the shelter renter allows us to put a sign up that says, on this date, this time, there is a party for this
Block
group,
it off.
and it guaranteed, then it's not first come, first served, everybody's free fall. Now, if you don't wanna rent it and you wanna run the risk,
Yeah.
you can. But if you wanna guarantee you have that shelter for your party,
Yeah,
you can rent it.
right.
And it's an option that they have. If they'd rather not pay it, they're running the risk that they may not get the shelter. So,
And I think that's good. That's,
yard, I don't know if y'all had many yard sales around here. We did yard sale permits. They were $5.
yeah,
Um,
ours are.
Okay, cool.
But they're paying to
You
monitor.
can't police it. I
You
mean,
just can't police it, and I
Well,
How do
mean,
you police it?
yeah, we got $100 out
I
of it.
think I understand code enforcement's riding around on Saturdays, isn't it?
Yes, he is there.
So
He was here
most yard
today,
sales are on
Yes,
ma'am, he
Saturday.
was
You
at
can
12
look
o'clock.
for it.
I'd rather make sure they pick up the yard sale signs after they're done.
Yeah.
And charge them $5.
Well,
So,
it's just a hassle to come get up here, get the yard
But
sign.
it's, but what Ted's saying, and I
Yeah.
agree with that philosophy, it's another source of income. It's not a lot, but it's a source.
well, we're not trying to go out and grab for everything, but at the same time, these are low hanging things that don't kill people's bank account, but it offers you the ability to bring a little bit in.
Teddy, if I
It's
could,
just,
I can interject just a second. I've been approached several times, just through the course of making rounds over the last few years, with becoming more assertive with our town website and so forth, everything, having more PDF friendly, editable website, access and so forth, with maybe somehow we could speak to the IT people about having an access point with some of the minor signs and so forth that have to be in compliance with yard sale signs, everything. Obviously pay and obviously have it downloaded and everything for the sign, have it as a controlled item, much like a traffic citation or warrant, everything. Automated. They can access it and everything. It would alleviate
Very good
some
idea.
clerk ideas and everything. And that,
And hopefully we can get to those kind of things. Thank you
Sure.
for mentioning that with the new website and the updates
Sure.
that we want to do on the
Yes, ma'am.
website. So the new website can come from ARPA money.
By the way, I'm coming around to this in a few, but I think we'll run in there. That's fine. One thing I meant to ask Adam was, under the franchise fees, is that just for Dominion and or Mid Carolina? Does that include cable TV franchise spectrum?
I'm 99% sure
Okay.
everything that's serviced in the town.
I just
has
wanted to make sure you
franchises.
had franchise fee on cable providers as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
We
everybody,
can check on
is
that.
everybody at 5% franchise?
Now, that I don't know. We need to get Carrie to
You
check.
can
on
go up, you really can go as high as you want, but the typical top end that people charge is 5%. So I would make sure franchise fees are on your electric and cable provider and all are 5%.
I'm charged through DirecTV, the town franchise.
that. Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm 99.999% sure that I've seen.
Carrie says she has not seen Spectrum, but she will verify.
Okay.
Yeah, big television.
She also said revenue replacement was designated for the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
Okay, good, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carrie, if you're listening in, I'm not keeping up with all of that because I'm too busy talking. Set off debt, is all of the court stuff being put in fully?
to my knowledge, yes, it is. Brittany and I have been working side by side. I have access, and her and I have been working in companionship with that and everything. And weekly updates and so forth are coming through, and they're being promptly directed to her. So we're to what I've seen and what we've reviewed over the last quarter has been very fluid and very forthcoming, almost weekly.
I think making sure every debt that's owed to this town through the court system is being entered each year, because it's just a quick, easy way to get
when the Supreme Court justice obviously, rescinded all the bench warrants, there were,
Yeah, that
Yeah,
lowered it down.
yeah, that was about $250,000 that was lost in fees.
I'm anxious to see the rates on the employee health.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, those were just some low hanging things that I wanted to see if y'all were charging for, not charging for. There's potential to make a little bit off of those.
Honestly, I think we have some businesses that don't have their license. After looking at that report, Michelle, so
I glanced at it, I haven't looked at it close fully.
I think we're missing some funds for business license, but
Well, and one thing I can recommend, there are companies, that actually go out and audit your entire community for businesses. Now, what they're gonna ask is, whatever they find, they will get 50% the first year of the revenue coming in. Then I think it scales down to 25%. It scales down, but at the end of the day, you're getting money you still weren't getting.
that's
But they go out and find, they basically do an entire audit of your business licenses in the community.
because I think, I've heard from other municipalities, just like our school and the grocery store, there are companies that come in here, they're doing business inside the
Grocery
school,
store, yeah.
inside the grocery store, they don't have a business license.
That's right.
And
I
then
mean, you've
rentals
got
too.
wireless.
We got people rent properties out and we don't
Oh,
have a handle on that.
Well, you've got like Cricket Mobile, I'll use that as an example, they may have a stand in the food line and they're not necessarily paying business license.
Sure.
So there are so many businesses that maybe operate, but there are companies that come in and do a complete and entire audit of your community and the business license to ensure everybody's paid.
So it's 50% first year?
Yeah, they're gonna take about half of it early on, but you're still gonna get revenue you otherwise wouldn't have got that year, and then over the course of the 3-year time period, you'll be getting 100% of the revenue. So,
I just need one more side hustle.
so
So as far as that goes, there was a tree service that was here for months. That probably was contracted out to power company to cut. And so I finally they were on my road for a while, so I said, call this person. So she got a hold of the person, they said, oh, we're done now. She said, I don't care.
yeah,
No,
no, they're supposed
I
to.
guess
get
they
business
came by
license.
and
Oh.
then,
Oh,
Well,
they,
they've been on
Well,
302
we'll be having
on
that
Rambling
money
Road.
come
so-
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
supposed to
We'll
get
be
us
having
business
some
I
that
wondered
revenue.
that, but I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I wondered that.
yeah, no, they're coming.
Yes.
If I.
Yes.
Yeah.
That money's
I'll
coming in.
comment to
Yes,
myself.
ma'am.
But they are a
For those
contractor
street-
that would meet
all those
Carolina
street-
Electric
Yeah,
hires
they're in,
People that
yeah,
are parked in
to
the,
trim those.
or, yeah,
that money's coming in here very soon.
yes,
second.
That'll be some more revenue for them and it won't be cheap.
yes.
Saw that was in Carolina.
Doesn't matter.
No, I knew they something else.
They
They
sub
sub
it
it
out. So that
Say
person,
that.
But that's not.
we shouldn't, but
So there is, some discussion, unless there's something else to talk about, there's some discussion that needs to be, about salary ranges for police officers, and because it's dealing with, I'm assuming maybe salaries under the 50,000 amount, that discussion would not take place in front of the general public. Any discussion about salaries over 50,000 would have to be in front of the general public, but they are wanting to discuss salaries underneath that amount, so, I would say if there's nothing else outside the salary discussion, we would end the YouTube live to discuss salaries below the 50,000 mark, which is
But
personal.
we will have to have a motion to go into executive session to discuss that. And, I think we can do that, even though we're on the agenda, just as long as we all know we can't make a motion. Since it wasn't on
As
the
long
agenda. We
as
can
long as
discuss
you all vote, which is a super majority, you can go into executive.
it. Right. So, is that what we wanna do right now?
I think while we're here, we should.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that. Let's do that.
So we want to, make a motion. Do I hear a motion that we enter into executive session at 7:08 PM under, South Carolina Code 30-4-70A1, discussion of compensation.
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
So we have a motion and we have a second to go into executive session to discuss employee compensation. Are we going to invite anyone in to join us for that executive session?
I think
Just the,
let's discuss and then we can inform
okay,
if that works with everybody.
all right.
I'm gonna end.
So
So we-
let's have a